remember that guy that you went to high school with, or maybe you worked with, that always seemed to have an answer for everything? No matter what it was, he always knew what the answer was. And you have probably discovered, and I have too, that most of the people who seem to think that they know all the answers and know all the questions don't even understand half of the questions. We are told in James chapter 3 about being a teacher. Verse 1 says that people who are going to be teachers ought to very seriously consider taking on this responsibility. The next verse begins by telling us, in the next several verses, continue that discussion about the tongue, the things we say, the language that we use. And oftentimes we make a separation between verse 1 and verse 2 through about verse 12 to say verse 1 is about being a teacher and verse 2 through 12 is about the tongue. Well, usually the verse that starts the discussion has something to do with the verses that follow in the discussion. And I think that's the case here, that we're being warned here about being teachers, yes, and the next discussion doesn't change subjects. It's about how we use our tongue as a teacher. And verse 2 says, "For we all stumble in many things. Yet if any man does not stumble in word, the same is a perfect man and able to bridle the whole body." You see, sometimes there might be a tendency for someone who is a teacher to become very arrogant, to become very trained in the mind to think that because I'm up in front of this class and all these people are my students, they're going to believe everything that I say. And I need to have all of the answers. And yet the Bible says here that we all stumble sometimes in the things that we say. Now, we don't do that deliberately. And when we make mistakes in what we teach, we need to be able to correct them and be able to find what the right answer is to something that we were mistaken about. And yet, we don't need to have that arrogant attitude of, I'm the teacher and therefore I know everything and everybody's got to believe me and listen to me. No, this verse tells us that teachers need to have a great deal of humility. That teachers need to be teachable. Because sometimes we don't know everything. Often we don't know everything. And we need to understand that there is still much more for us to learn. But we learn it so that hopefully we can pass it on to others and be a great blessing to them. So let's have that kind of humility to be taught by the great teacher himself and then teach others.